The organ hadn't cooled yet. When a man I'd never met said my husband had signed another will, it was 3:12 p.m., Friday, Fellowship Hall of St. Mark's. The church bulletin still listed Robert Ellis, beloved husband, 1949 to 22:5. He said it so plainly. Mrs. Ellis. I handled the second document. My hand stayed on the program, thumb pressing the embossed cross. Behind me, my daughter-in-law, Amber, whispered, "He's confused." "Mom, sit down." But he wasn't confused. He gave a date, April 18th. And that was the week Robert was in the cardiac ward sedate. Monitors blinking. I wrote the date on the back of the bulletin. Ink bled a little through the paper. I still had the will, the one Robert and I signed at notary desk number 12. June 2020, witnessed by Adam and Pastor Louis. Stamp. Sealed, logged. No amendment since. So when the stranger said second, I knew what I had to do. Document first, emotion later. After the service, people lined up for casseroles and condolences. I lined up for the copier by the church office. One copy for myself, one for Anita Cole, my neighbor and retired probate clerk. Amber followed me halfway down the corridor. "Mom, this isn't the place." "It became the place," I said, when he brought paper into a sanctuary. 3:47 depois do meio-dia. I photographed the bulletin with the note. File name, memorial_second will_3 for 7 p.m. JPG. Because if a lie is going to start in God's house, I'll end it in a courthouse. Outside, bells rang once for every decade Robert lived. 15 chimes. I listened to all of them, then walked to my car, folder under my arm, bulletin inside. Next week, the probate office would open at 9 a.m., and I'd be there with the first will. I fold the church bulletin and slide it into my ledger folder. Fellowship Hall lingers in the paper. Coffee, lemon polish, old hymnals. Home is 2 turns away. Same street for 34 years. I unlock the door. The deadbolt sticks, like it always has in October. I noted on a sticky, oil-hinged Tuesday. Small jobs keep grief from spilling. Kettle on, click of the switch. Low hum building. I wash Robert's favorite mug, the blue one with the chip. I set it back on the rack, mouth down, water beating along the rim. On the table, a neat Rodette certificate copy, marriage certificate, insurance card, will packet. The manila folder has a crease that mirrors the vein in my wrist. Order steadies me when people don't single quotes. Adam calls. "Mom, do you need anything tonight?" His voice tries to land softly and misses. "I need honesty, Adam," I say. "Did you know that man?" "No," he says too quickly. Amber says, "We'll talk tomorrow." Amber does most of the talking in this family. Her phrase of choice, be reasonable. Reasonable means say yes now, ask questions later. My yeses have grown expensive. I wipe the table. The smell of lemon cleaner sits in the air. Anita's card peeks from the folder. Tired probate clerk, Unit 3B. We garden on Saturdays. She counts seeds. I count days. I dial Anita. "Come by in the morning." She says, "Bring the bulletin and your 2020 packet. Will inventory, no drama." Her no-nonsense tone is a blanket against the draft. I ring Pastor Luis. "I'm sorry I didn't catch you after the service," he says. "Was that man a member?" I ask. I don't recognize him. If he returns, I'll ask for his card. I log the calls. Date, time, subject. Grief makes gaps. Ink closes them. At 9:10 p.m., I stop writing my husband's name and stare at the period. The kettle clicks. Off. Silence feels larger than the kitchen. I pour hot water over a tea bag and watch the color arrive. Steam touches my glasses, then lifts away like a curtain. Down the hall, the spare room door is half open. Inside, the fireproof safe waits with its small, old metal smell. I kneel, turn the wheel, and lift the lid. Notary desk number 12 copies sit on top, the blue stamp sharp even under lamplight. The will says what we agreed. The house to me, savings, shared by percentages long discussed. No surprises, no riddles. Robert despised riddles. A knock at the door. I check the peep, holding a casserole with a bow. I breathe in, open the chain, leave the deadbolt. "You should rest," she says. "I'll take that paper for safekeeping." "Which paper?" I ask. "The will," she says, smiling. "It'll just get lost here." "Nothing gets lost here," I say. "Things get filed." She glances at the stack, eyeing tab colors as if they are chess pieces. "Be reasonable, Mom," she says. "The lawyer will need the original. Better I handle it." I look at her shoes, spotless, clicking once against the threshold. That man today mentioned a second document. I say, what lawyer? She blinks. Everyone gifts something at a memorial, she says lightly. Stories, food, or paperwork, I say. Her smile tightens like a ribbon pulled too hard. I'll coordinate with Adam, she says. Tomorrow we'll swing by. Quick signatures, few things to tidy. Nothing needs my signature today, I say. I keep the chain in place. Grief has already rearranged the furniture. She sets the casserole on the porch bench. I'm trying to help, she says, louder than the hour deserves. Help looks like dates and names, I say. Bring those tomorrow. Her eyes flick to the deadbolt. She hates when a door answers for me. When she leaves, I write 3 lines in my ledger. 9:42 p.m. Amber at door asked for original will. No handoff. I underline the time. Twice. Night is not empty. It is full of paper. I sort duplicate copies, sleeve the originals, labeled the binder rings. The rings click closed, metallic and final. Through the window, the streetlight paints the church bulletin in pale gold. Sleep is short and oddly clean. At 6:05 a.m. I'm up, robe tied, porch swept, leaves surrender 2 neat piles. The rake teeth comb the day into rose. At 8:15 a.m. Anita knocks with a tote bag and a stare that says business on my table. She lays a yellow legal pad, 2 blue pens, a hand stamp. Deep breath, Alice, she says. Inventory first, opinions never. We line items like we're packing a suitcase. Death certificate, preliminary copy, she says. Marriage certificate certified. 1 last will, 2020, witnessed Adam and Pastor Luis. Notary desk number 12. Memorial bulletin, annotated, back page, 3:12 p.m. Stranger statement. We log names, places, desk numbers. She writes, small, precise numbers in the right margin. People prefer fog when power's at stake, she says. Fog hates lists. We make a list so sharp it could cut a rumor in half. I pour coffee. She takes hers black, always. This second will claim, could be wind, she says. Could be paper. We don't guess. We show up, I say, with what we have, with copies. Anita pulls a shallow box from her tote, divider tabs, fluorescent flags, a small stapler that makes tidy teeth. Church bulletin is our motif, she says, smiling at the word. So it fronts the packet. She slides it into a transparent sleeve like a pressed flower in a book. Who benefits from a second will? She asks. It depends what was promised in whispers. I say whispers grow legs without dates, she says. We attach dates. Her pen ticks like a clock. At 10:23 a.m. Adam texts, Mom, Amber says we should bring the original to Logan's office today. Last name, I reply, just Logan. He writes, he's good. It'll be easier. Easier for whom? I stare at the screen until my eyes watered. Anita tilts her head. The original doesn't leave your hand without a receipt, she says, if at all. The doorbell rings. It's the florist with a sympathy spray and a card signed by names I don't know well, from the Rotary. He says, I thank him, logged the delivery. Tuck the card behind the church bulletin. Anita repacks the file. Probate opens at 9 tomorrow, she says. We ask if any petition has been filed. If so, we pull the case number. If not, we file a notice of interest in the estate. Plain steps, I nod, breathing with the cadence of her sentences. Simple does not mean small. We step onto the porch, for air. Leaves scratch the walkway, a soft, steady sound. Amber's casserole sits untouched, ribbon curling at the ends. I consider the kindness and label the tactic. Inside again, I reread the 2020 will. My name, where it should be. Pastor Luce's signature, neat as a hymn. Order looks back at me and nods. At 12:41 p.m., another text from Adam arrives. Mom, please be reasonable. Logan needs the original to verify. We're coming by at 3. Anita's eyes meet mine across the table. We both look at the clock. The blue stamp on the 2020 copy seems to deepen in color. I slide the copy to the front end, the original beneath it. The church bulletin faces up, my note visible through the sleeve. We add 2 fresh tabs and a calm breathline between them. The door is locked. Chain is set. The keys hang on their hook like silver punctuation marks. I take the folder in my hands and feel the grain of the manila press into my palm. There's a right way to handle the dead, and there, wishes, it honors the living. It's boring on purpose. I choose boring over panic every time. My phone buzzes again, and lights the room with its square certainty. 3 messages in a row. 1 promise of easier, 1b, reasonable 1, we're 5 minutes out. I smoothed the church bulletin and breathe once through my nose. Then, I move the original to the safe and keep the copy on the table. If they bring feelings, I'll bring dates. If they bring rush, I'll bring a clock. Adam's car door thuds outside. Footsteps approach the porch. I place the folder in front of my chair and sit where the light is good. The bell rings once, then again. I open the door, as far as the chain allows, and meet my son's eyes. Behind him, Amber holds a slim leather folio like a verdict. Let's just get this over with, she says. Show me the paper that asks. I say. And that's when the first text screenshot lands in my hand, cool as glass. The screenshot glows faintly in my hand. A text from Amber to Adam.
Right now. You have to get out of the house
Sunday,
immediately.
7:42 p.m. reads, if she won't hand it over, we'll say there's another version. Logan will back it. I scroll twice. The next message, make her feel like we're helping. I tilt the phone toward the light so the reflection doesn't hide the words. That's the moment the kettle on the stove begins to hiss. Soft, urgent, like it knows something's burning that shouldn't. Where did you get that? Adam asks. You sent it to the wrong thread. I say. God's way of using copy-paste. Amber steps closer, her perfume too strong for the hour. Mom, that's out of context, she says. You're grieving. You're reading too much. I'm reading the time, I reply. 7:42 p.m. Sunday. Don't twist this date. Don't twist, I say, and set the phone face down on the table. Amber's smile hardens. Logan said this could get messy if you start accusing family. Messy is what happens when people skip paperwork. Anita clears her throat from the kitchen doorway. I'm still here, she says. Maybe we all slow down. She holds up a single-page photocopy of the 2020 notarized will, stamped June 8, 2020, desk number 12, initials JM. Everything we need starts on this page. Amber folds her arms. Mom, that's your copy. The original is filed and logged. Anita cuts in. Chain of custody is clear. I glance at Adam. His eyes flick to the folder, then to Amber. The silence between them is a confession in slow motion. I just thought he starts. That helping me meant rewriting him. I say your father hated shortcuts. Outside, a car door slams. Neighbor kids heading to school. Life continues on schedule, while mine rearranges itself by evidence tags. Amber exhales through her nose. You can't keep everything locked up forever, she says. People will think. Let them think, I say. Paper thinks louder. I lift the church bulletin from the sleeve, hold it flat. The back still shows my note. 3:12 p.m. Stranger said second will. I slide it beside the 2020 will and take a photo with my phone. Timestamp, Monday, 9:18 a.m. File name, will _ proof set _ 918 am.jpg. Anita watches, chain of documentation. She says softly, good habit. Amber shifts her purse, tone turning brittle. Fine, keep your folder. But if this gets legal, it already is, I say. Probate opens at 9 tomorrow. I'll be there. Her eyebrows jump. You're filing something? I'm asking for the case number. I say, paper before people. Adam rubs his temple. This is going too far. Far is when people invent wills. I say, this is close, right where the truth lives. Amber whispers something to him. I can't hear the words, but I catch the rhythm. Control, reassure, isolate. I've heard it before. In different rooms, from different mouths. Always the same melody. Anita picks up her tote. I'll walk you out, she tells them. Amber opens her mouth to protest, but Anita's tone leaves no room. When the door closes, I let the silence settle. The scent of burnt kettle lingers. Tin and tea leaves. I turn off the stove, pour the overboiled water into the sink, and start writing Las 14 am. Event log. Amber and Adam arrive. Presented screenshot text thread 7:42 p.m. Sunday. Attempted to collect original. Refused handoff. File photo created 9:18 a.m. Underline the last line twice, because every line needs a timestamp waiting to meet it. My phone buzzes again. This time, a message from an unknown number. This is Logan's office. We have the updated testament. Robert signed in April 2025. Please, confirm your address for certified delivery. I stare at the message. No attached file. No letterhead. Just pixels trying to sound official. Anita leans over my shoulder. Don't reply, she says. We'll pull the attorney registry first. Real firms sign their texts with disclaimers. I forward the message to myself, screenshot it, and label it, possible fraud, verified Tuesday. Paper first, Anita says again. And her words anchor the room. By noon, I've printed 2 copies of the screenshot and 1 of the text, stapled, dated, logged. The binder teeth close with their small metallic side. At 12:47 p.m., the landline rings. The sound slices through the calm like a chime gone offbeat. I answer. Mrs. Ellis, a male voice says. This is Logan Pierce, attorney at law. I need to confirm which copy you intend to submit to probate. Whose firm are you with? I ask. Private practice, Park Street, he says. Robert retained me in April. Under what capacity? He hesitates. Power of attorney. He says finally. My hand tightens on the receiver. Then you know that ends at death, I say, and Robert's was revoked in 2022. Static fills the line. Then a quiet click. Anita writes the time down before I even lower the phone. 12:48 p.m. Logan call, ended abruptly. We don't need to say it aloud. The boundary just cracked wider, but now it has coordinates, and coordinates can be mapped. I close the binder, press my palm flat on its cover. Tomorrow, I say, we see whose signature they're really carrying. Outside, the noon bell from St. Mark's rings once. A single chime, perfectly on time, and the sound folds neatly into my ledger. By morning, the air feels sharpened. Paper stacked on the table gives off that faint scent of ink and caution. I dress the way Robert always said meant business. Navy cardigan, silver watch, hair pinned tight, no armor. Just order. Anita arrives at 8:50 a.m., a thermos in hand. Courthouse opens at 9, she says. Let's meet. Fog with filing cabinets. We drive in quiet. The sky over St. Mark's looks washed clean, grief's color, fading into bureaucracy's gray. Inside the probate office, the floor wax smells like lemon oil and deadlines. Behind the counter sits a young clerk with glasses, too big for his patience. Name tag, Devon H. I slide the bulletin and will pack it across. I'd like to check if any petition has been filed in the name of Robert Ellis, I say. He types for a while, the keyboard echoing like distant rain. Then, filed yesterday, 3:42 p.m., applicant, Amber Ellis Pierce. My breath holds. Attorney of record. Anita asks. Logan Pierce, he says. Reading the screen, Amber had moved faster than grief. I keep my tone even. Can I see the submission? He glances up. Public record after initial review. You can file a notice of interest. Anita slides him our prepared form, 2 pages, double-signed, dated. We watch him stamp it. Received, OCT 7, 2025 to 9/17. A.M. The sound of that stamp feels heavier than the room. Proof that I still exist in Robert's paperwork. Back in the hallway, Anita exhales. That's your first receipt, she says. Not the last, I reply. We sit on a bench under the courthouse clock. Its second-hand clicks. Steady. Every tick a small verdict. Anita taps her pen. She filed fast. That means she already had a draft, maybe from that April stay in the cardiac unit. She was barely visiting him then, I say. Always busy, always next week. Then, someone else drafted it, Anita says, and Logan stamped it after. I look down at my phone. Another text from Adam. Please stop making this worse. Amber's just finishing what Dad wanted. I type back, slowly, show the paper. No reply. By noon, we're at the diner across from the courthouse booth 3, same one Robert used to sit in after renewals. I stir my coffee until the cream draws circles that don't merge. That's what deceit looks like. Near contact. No blending. Anita scrolls through the state bar directory. Logan Pierce, active license, admitted 2011. No discipline. She pauses. But his address, Park Street, Suite 104. That's a shared office, paralegal service, mailbox rental, 2 phone lines, so his letterhead may be decoration. I say exactly. She opens her notepad. Next, we need a witness from that April period. Anyone who saw Robert sign or not sign anything. Hospital had visiting logs, I say. I'll call Nurse Common. She was the night nurse. Firm, kind, knew how to draw lines. Even doctors respected. I find her number in my phone. Press call. Carmen Rivera. She answers. This is Alice Ellis, I say. Robert's wife. Her voice softens. I remember him. Crossword man. You doing okay? As okay as paper allows. I say. Do you recall anyone visiting with documents in mid? A pause. Then, only his son and daughter-in-law, one evening. But he was under mild sedation. He signed the menu, not a will. I note every word. Would you be willing to confirm that if asked? She sighs. If it comes to that, yes. I'll check my shift log. We log visitors. I thank her. End of call. 12:47 p.m. Second receipt logged. Witness name, C. Rivera. April 18 hospital shift. Anita smiles faintly. That's our countergather, she says. One human memory plus one institutional record. Feels small, I admit. Small piles make tall stacks, she says. We head back home by 2. Amber's SUV sits in my driveway again, gleaming like a staged apology. She's on the porch, sunglasses on despite the shade. Mom, we should talk before this gets out of hand, she says. It's already on file, I say, and time-stamped. She lifts a thin envelope. This is the updated testament. Dad wanted to simplify. Show me the page with the signature, I say. She hands it over too quickly. A prop rehearsed too soon. The signature looks right until you see the pressure lighter, almost traced. Robert's pen always dented paper like it meant to stay. This one barely grazes. Copy of the notary log. I asked. Amber shrugs. It's digital. Then print it, I say. She rolls her eyes. Why are you making this adversarial? Because deceit wears manners first, I say. Adam steps out from the car, holding his phone like a shield. Let's not do this, he says. I'm already doing it, I reply. At the courthouse, with witnesses, Amber scoffs. You're paranoid? No, I say. I'm procedural. The wind shifts, crisp, dry, carrying church bells from St. Mark's faintly over the roofs. 3 notes, _3. Anita single quotes. S notebook catches the light as she writes. 3:30 p.m. porch meeting. False document presented. Potential forgery indicators. Pen pressure. Absent notary ID. Closing parenthesis. Amber steps down the porch steps. Heels sharp on wood. You'll regret turning this into a war, she says. I prefer paper wars, I say. Less noise, more proof. As they drive away, Anita closes her pad. We hold until hearing notice, she says. They'll move fast. So will I say. She looks at me, almost proud. Gaslight doesn't last under daylight. Alice, you just need one morning like this. I glance at the folder. 3 layers now. Bulletin. Screenshot. Hospital witness log pending. Proof stacking quietly. Like bricks in a wall they can't climb. I write one final line before. DUSK 23:42 p.m. False will previewed. Witness contacted. Next step. Notarized letter request. C. Rivera. RN. Closing parenthesis. End. As the last light touches the paper, I whisper, if they bring stories, I'll bring shifts. The kettle clicks again. Soft as applause. Tomorrow, the test begins. Morning light enters like an audit. Nothing romantic about it. Every corner of my dining room has a shadow where truth can hide, and I aim to shorten each one. By 7:03 a.m. Anita is at my door, legal pad in hand, thermos steaming. Her greeting is plain. We build paper walls today. On the table, the 2020 will copy, the photo of the second will. Amber flashed, the church bulletin, and Carmen's name written in neat blue ink. I slide a fresh page into my ledger and title it, Verification Day 4. Start with the notary, Anita says. Desk number 12, we call, we ask for initials. I dial the number from the bottom corner of the 2020 stamp, JM. A calm male voice answers. Office of Joseph Mendez, Notary Public. Mr. Mendez, this is Alice Ellis, I say. You notarized the will for Robert Ellis on June 8th. I remember. Older gentleman, blue folder, clear signatures. Did he return in April 2025? No, he says. I'd have logged it. Desk 12 hasn't seen him since that day. I thank him. Hang up. And Anita writes the reference number at the top of the page. JMO 608-2020, will-ref.hash4472. She draws a checkmark. Verification number logged, she says softly. First undeniable test passed. We print the call log, date, and his statement in plain type, then staple it to the front of the file. When paper answers paper, lies start coughing. At 9:45 a.m., we drive to the locksmith. Robert changed the safe key after his surgery. It's a routine the heart unit insisted on. Reassign access in recovery. Receipt number 1073 is still pinned inside my file, dated March 5, 2024. The shop smells like oil and brass. The clerk, Tanya, flips the invoice file. Still have your duplicate key sealed, she says. We never got a release request. Meaning, I ask. Meaning no one copied it. You're the only holder. We get a reprint of the invoice with her initials, TC, the 10th of October 25. Verified. Anita nods. Lock chain intact. Another test passed. By noon, our folder feels heavier, like truth gains weight when confirmed. Amber calls as I'm pouring tea. Mom, I hope you're not listening to outsiders. You're being manipulated. Her voice is sugar poured on sand, sticky, uneven. I'm listening to dates. I say you sound paranoid. No, dated. Dad didn't want this conflict. Then why's there a forged document with his name? You're confused, she says. We're helping you. There it is, the line they all use. I hold the phone away. Let Anita hear it on speaker. Anita mouths. Document the call. So I do. 12:03 p.m. Amber called. Repeated phrase. We're helping you. I hang up just before the word reasonable arrives. We lunch on leftovers. Quiet, except for the pen's rhythm. Each verification becomes a rung. June 8, 2020. Original notarization confirmed. March 5, 2024. Safe key, verified intact. October 10, 2025. No duplicate key issued. 3 small receipts. 1 growing tower. Anita leans back. Fog's thinning, she says. Fog hates lists, I echo, and we both smile. At 1:15 p.m. An envelope slides through the mail slot. Cream paper, embossed initials LP inside. A letter from Logan Pierce, attorney at law. Header looks real enough until you read the footer. No bar number, no firm address. Just Suite 104, Park Street. He writes, pursuant to the testament executed April 18, 2025, your presence is required for verification of transfer deeds. Please bring keys to residence. No seal, no clerk stamp, no date other than April. Forgery. Formatted as confidence. Anita lays a ruler across the signature line. Pen drag, she says. See the tremor. No pressure, no indentation. Jensen. We photocopy the page, highlight the gaps, log it as artifact for Sutaletta. Undated. Next step, Anita says, is a small, undeniable test. We send notice, certified, tracked, that we possess the original will, and will appear at probate for authentication. Let's see who panics first. We write the notice together, plain, factual, no adjectives. Notice of original will in possession. Alice, surviving spouse, hereby confirms custody of the notarized June 8, 2020. Testament of Robert Ellis. A verified copy accompanies this letter. Will appear at probate court on October 14, 2025, 9 a.m. for confirmation. I sign, date, and stamp the envelope with a tracking sticker ref. And 33,219 PR postmark, 2:26 p.m. when we step into the post office. The air smells like glue and policy. I hand the letter to the clerk. Watch it disappear into the slot. It's not vengeance, it's verification. As we leave, my phone pings. New message from Adam. Mom, you didn't have to escalate. Amber's just protecting assets. I text back one line. Protection uses locks, not lies. Anita laughs softly. That one's for the record. By 4 p.m., we're home. I pour tea into the blue mug. The chip's still there. Gold-filled from last winter's kintsugi workshop. Steam rises like proof of warmth. I check my binder. Every document numbered. Dated. Cross-checked. Motif line from the bulletin taped on the inside cover. Let all things be done decently and in order. At 5:07 p.m., the phone rings again. Number blocked. Double quotes. Mrs. Ellis. A male voice says, calm but forced, you've caused confusion. The firm requests you refrain from distributing copies. Which firm? I ask. Click. Silence. Anita looks at me. Document that. I already am. 5:08 p.m. Anonymous call. Claim of firm authority. Hung up when asked for name. We sit in quiet. The house creaks, settling like it's approving the record. By evening, I slide the binder into the safe, twist the lock, and write the number down. Safe closed. 7:14 p.m. The key is warm in my palm. Brass. Smooth. Honest. Tomorrow. The notice arrives at the clerk's desk, and when they ask who holds the first will, I'll answer without tremor. I do. The truth, notarized once, is enough. But tonight, it sleeps under lock and verification number 4472, proof that even grief can learn to sign its name. The morning begins like a summons, crisp air, sunlight slicing through the blinds, and my name on the courthouse docket board. Alice, notice of custody of original will. There it is, printed in black and white. I read it twice, because it's been decades since my name stood for something that couldn't be talked over. Anita drives. I ride with the folder on my lap, seatbelt crossed over its spine like a vow. She hums the tune from St. Mark's, the memorial hymn, and taps the steering wheel in time. With the courthouse clock tower we can already see in the distance. Remember, she says, you speak as the record, not the witness. Paper has no tremor. I nod. Paper is my tone now. Inside, the probate lobby hums with quiet urgency. Printers, shoes, distant typing. The clerk at window 3 looks up, recognizes the file tabs before my face. Mrs. Ellis. Yes. Filing confirmation for docket 22-25-417B. He checks the system. Received notice. Yes. Status conference Wednesday. Judge Moreno presiding. A public stage. Finally. Anita leans in, lowering her voice. He's deep, likes numbers more than narratives. Then we'll give him both, I say. As we leave, I stop by the restroom mirror. Tidy hair, pressed blouse, the small pearl pin Robert gave me in 1988, still fixed at the collar. It feels less like jewelry and more like a time-stamped proof that I've been keeping records long before they learned how. Back home, the kitchen smells of order, coffee, dust, polish, quiet resolve. I open my laptop. On the screen waits a folder named Robert_Will_Master_2020. Each subfolder labeled with its own discipline: scans, logs, witness, receipts, correspondence. I used to keep these habits for someone else. Now they're my defense line. See, long before widow became my new form of address, I was a records clerk for the county planning department. 22 years of signatures, zoning plats, minute entries. I know what ink looks like when it means something. I know how long a lie lasts before the time stump swallows it. The part Amber and Logan never studied that my patience came from filing rooms, not fragility. Anita peers over my shoulder. You still have login access to the clerk's archive. Guest mode, I say. Public view only, enough to check authenticity. I search Logan Pierce. One result. A filing assistant once reprimanded for submitting unsigned exhibits in 2019. Flagged, corrected, archive. Pattern found. Receipts over rumors. I whispered. We print the entry. Anita highlights the case number 19C332. One prior citation for procedural lapse, she says. Judge Moreno's bench noted it. I smile slightly. Then we're walking into familiar ground. At 11:22 a.m., the doorbell rings. It's Adam, alone. No Amber, no smile. Mom, I don't want this to explode, he says. It already has. I'm just labeling the debris. He sits at the table, eyes tracing the edges of my folder. I didn't think it mattered. She said it was just updating signatures. Then why hide it? I ask. He looks down. Because Logan promised it would streamline probate, said Dad wanted fewer disputes. Disputes vanish when documents align. I say, did you see Dad sign anything in April? Adam shakes his head. No, he was on oxygen. He joked that even the menu looked like a contract. I let silence settle. It's the only confession that doesn't need ink. Adam, I say softly, I need your statement. Date, time, that hospital visit. He nods, reluctant but ready. I'll write it, he says. That's all I ask, not love, just accuracy. When he leaves, Anita exhales. Witness number 2, she says, writing his name beneath Carmen Rivera's. This is how truth multiplies. We prepare the next step, a notarized declaration from Carmen, the nurse. I call her during her lunch break. Mrs. Ellis, I wrote it exactly how you said. April 18, 2025, 7:40 p.m., patient sedated, no legal papers presented. I'll drop it by your place tonight. Bless you, I whisper. I prefer evidence. She replies. We both laugh, tired, relieved laughter, the kind that belongs in the margins. At 3:10 p.m., I receive a knock. A courier holds an envelope, certified mail, clerk of probate, Logan Pierce, ESQ. Inside, notice of informal hearing request. Petitioner seeks confirmation of April testament. Respondent Alice Ellis to appear October 14. So the battle is official, but so is my footing. Anita reviews the packet. They're trying to force validation before review. You'll need to declare chain of custody. I wrote the chain before they thought to fake it, I say. I tap my binder. Every line has a heartbeat. Evening falls with the smell of rain, the kind Robert used to say cleans the story. I pour tea, sit by the window, folder open to the page marked JM4472. His signature sits there, firm, unshakable. That's when I notice the faint indentation beneath his name. A groove in the paper like a map. Under lamplight, I trace it gently with my fingertip, the pen path of a man who pressed down, not skimmed over. That pressure tells the truth. It belongs to someone who meant every line. Anita looks up from her notes. You realize what you just proved. What's that? You can authenticate handwriting by pressure memory. That's expert testimony, and you're the expert. I laugh quietly. Guess 22 years of filing paid off. It's not filing, she says. It's forensics, disguised as order. Outside, thunder rolls, low, deliberate, like a gavel rehearsing. I close the binder, set it beside my cup, and whisper to the empty chair across from me. They think they're walking into court with paper. They're walking into court with me. The clock ticks, 7:01 p.m., 7 days until the hearing. The House exhales, and I write the final line for today's ledger. Prepared quietly, identity revealed, former records clerk, county planning, will authenticate signatures by pressure and provenance. Tomorrow, we build the paper war. The week begins in the ledger opening. No fireworks, no threats, just quiet arithmetic. One will, one forgery, one woman who still believes dates matter. Monday, 8:07 a.m., I lay every document across the dining table. Each page smells faintly of ink and lemon polish. Carmen's notarized statement sits on top, her handwriting steady. April 18, 2025. Patient Robert Ellis, sedated. No legal papers presented. Stamped. Signed, ref #NR-2185. Anita calls it our keystone. I call it oxygen. She arrives with her usual tote and a look that means business. Today we sort the paper war, she says. Each copy fights for a truth. We divide the stack into fronts. Front 1, authentic chain original 2020 will desk number 12, ref 4472. Notary letter from Joseph Mendez verified, the 9th of October 25. Safe key receipt TC, the 10th of October 25, verified intact. Carmen Rivera, affidavit NR 2185. Adam Ellis, written statement, hospital visit, April 18, 2025, 7:40 p.m. Closing parenthesis. Front to counterfeit chain. April testament copy with absent seal. Fake Logan Pierce, letter no bar number. Pseudo letterhead. Anonymous call. Log claim of firm authority. The 10th of October 25. Front 3, timeline receipts, memorial bulletin, annotated 3:12 p.m. notice of custody letter, ref number 33219 PR, court docket, Ellis, Alice, hearing October 14. Anita labels each divider with fluorescent tabs, chain, counterfeit, timeline, binder rings close with a metallic click that sounds like a decision. Every war has noise, she says, ours has pagination. By 10:15 a.m., we draft the index of exhibits, 32 lines, each line a small act of defiance disguised as documentation. My phone buzzes, an unknown number again. Double quotes, Mrs. Ellis. The voice says, this is Logan Pierce. Let's end this politely. Bring the 2020 will tomorrow. I'll void the duplicate. Mr. Pierce, I reply. Void it yourself. It's your creation. A pause. That's libel. Ma'am, no. That's a record. Recorded 10:17 a.m., I say, pressing the call log button. He hangs up before the word witness arrives. Anita grins. Paper wins another round. We add 10:17 a.m. call with Logan Pierce. Refused meeting. Disconnected. By noon. The binder has grown thick as a Bible. The church bulletin stays at the front. Our motif, still guiding, under it. I tape a small typed line. Let all things be done decently and in order. Lunch is silent, but steady. Tuna sandwiches, hot tea. Every sip feels earned. At 1:40 p.m., the courthouse auto-reply email arrives. Hearing confirmation. October 14, 9 a.m. Probate Court B parties. Alice Ellis, Amber Ellis Pierce petitioner. Public stage secured. Receipt ladder rung met. Now we prep your witness packet. Anita says. We copy Carmen's affidavit, add Adam's handwritten note, and scan both. She labels the file, EXHA1 through a 5.pdf. This is what clarity looks like, she says, dull, dated, deadly accurate. I open my ledger and write, to 11 p.m., packet prepared, 5 exhibits, scanned and certified. Then comes the harder part. The apps note. Elder abuse hotline requires intake documentation when coercion around wills appears. Anita dials while I read the printed checklist. Adult Protective Services, intake section. The voice says, caller, Anita call. On behalf of Mrs. Alice Ellis, Anita answers. She lists the situation in measured tones: false will, pressured widow, potential financial coercion. The intake officer gives a reference number, a PS 3105, EJI log. It carefully. 3:08 p.m. apps notification filed. Ref en 3105, J ano, drama. Just another layer of lawful leverage. Anita hangs up. Step complete, she says. They'll note the record. No raid, no panic, just paper motion. Exactly what the blueprint promised. Receipts, not rescue fantasies. We back up every file on a flash drive labeled will_defense_master. I slide it into the inner pocket of my handbag next to Robert's old fountain pen, the one with the brass cap dent. It feels like carrying both memory and evidence. At 5 p.m., the doorbell rings. Pastor Luis stands there holding a casserole dish. I heard about the confusion, he says. If you need a witness, I was there for the 2020 signing. I invite him in. Anita's eyes widen like a courtroom light flicked on. Pastor, you remember the setting? I ask. June 8, 2020. Desk 12, Notary Mendez. Robert joked about his penmanship. He says he still has the church's appointment ledger will signing, 2 p.m., in blue ink. He tears the page copy from the binder and hands it to me. Artifact, number D, Pastor Luis Church log #J8-2020. We added under front 1. When he leaves, Anita murmurs, that's your surprise witness. I nod. He always said faith needs paperwork too. The house quiets as evening settles. I light the small candle near Robert's photo, not a prayer, just a signal to myself, steady. I write the closing lines for the day, verified signatures, check. Witnesses 2, check. APS ref number 3105 each, logged. Pastor ledger added. Hearing date fixed. I press the pen's brass cap into the page until it leaves a faint circle, my unofficial seal. Anita closes her notebook. You've built an archive, she says. Now they'll have to climb it. Let them try, I reply. Each page is a rung made of truth. The clock on the wall strikes 7. I feel no fear, only structure, the kind Robert loved, the kind paper respects. Tomorrow, the community will start to see what's been happening behind polite curtains. But tonight, the binder sleeps in its safe. And I sleep beside it, quiet, prepared, unafraid, because the war they started with whispers has turned into something measurable. Paper, numbered, dated. And mine. Sunday morning smells like lemon oil and bulletin ink. St. Mark's bell tolls 9 times, each one steady. No rush, no mercy. I slip the church bulletin from last week into my handbag. Anita walks beside me, her tote like a shield. Time to take this into daylight, she says. Inside, pews fill slowly, polite condolences stretched into gossip. I nod, smile, breathe. Nothing ruins rumor like composure. After the service, Pastor Luis calls me forward. His voice carries warmth that could melt courtroom nerves. Sisters and brothers, he says, please keep the Ellis family in your prayers as they navigate estate matters with grace. I meet his eyes. Grace, yes, but with footnotes. Amber and Adam sit 2 rows back. She's flawless as ever. Pearl earrings, pale suit, her smile has courtroom polish, rehearsed humility. When I turn slightly, she looks away. The coffee hour begins. Biscuits clink on plates, and the talk starts to hum. It's always easier for people to discuss paperwork when sugar's nearby. Anita whispers, 3 witnesses here, no pieces of the timeline. She points subtly. Mrs. Patel, church treasurer, who processed Robert's memorial donation. Mr. Henry, usher, who saw the stranger that day. Tanya, the locksmith's daughter, volunteering at the bake table. Community math, Anita says. We're going to add them up. We start with Mrs. Patel. She adjusts her glasses, smiles kindly. Mrs. Ellis, I filed the memorial donation on the 25th. Robert's old checkbook, signature identical to 2020 records. We keep copies. She offers a photocopy. Top corner stamped church accounts, hashtag 1846. Signature pressure, deep and confident, not traced. Another verified artifact. Mr. Henry joins us next. Stirring his coffee like he's rehearsing testimony. The man who spoke to you that day. Tall brown coat, folder in hand. I remember because he asked for the pastor's office key. Said he needed to update paperwork. I said, service first. He left right after you did. He jots the statement on the back of a napkin, signs his name. Anita snaps a photo, timestamp 10:42 a.m. Witness statement, H. Caldwell, Memorial Day 2025. That's two voices, two receipts, both walking on their own feet. Amber approaches, cup in hand. Mom, I wish you'd stop involving people, she says softly. It looks desperate. It looks dated. I say, that's different. Dad wouldn't want this spectacle. Then why hire an actor for it? Her jaw tightens. Logan's preparing a motion to challenge competency. She whispers, that's predictable. Anita mutters under her breath. Amber's eyes flick to Anita. You again. Always stirring. Anita doesn't flinch. Always documenting. Amber steps closer, lowering her voice to something sweet enough to rot wood. You could make this stop, Mom. Just sign acknowledgement of the April Testament. We'd all move on. I already signed something, I say, holding her gaze. Junho 8, 2025 da bitte page. Her lips twitch. That old paper won't stand. Then you'd better pray for weak ink, I say, and walk away. Anita exhales, half laugh, half fatigue. Gaslight with frosting on top, she murmurs. By noon, we gather at the bake table. Tanya, the locksmith's daughter, wipes sugar off her hands. Mom told me someone asked about key copies 2 weeks after Mr. Ellis died, gave no receipt name, just authorized by family. She refused. She scribbles the date, May 10, 2025, and initials it. TCJR. Third community receipt, 3 pieces, 3 witnesses, 3 independent blogs. That's what Anita calls community math. Adding local truth until the sum is undeniable. At home, the afternoon sunlight pools across the ledger. We lay the new papers out like offerings. Church donation copy, hashtag 1846. Usher statement, H. Caldwell napkin note. Locksmith daughter memo, TC Jr. dated May 10th. Anita tallies them with her pen. 3 verifiable facts. Different hands, same direction. Which is, I ask, that the forgery needed coordination, and coordination leaves breadcrumbs. My phone buzzes. A new email from Amber Ellis Pierce. Cease and desist communications with church members. This matter is confidential and defamatory. Anita laughs. Classic intimidation letter. They forget defamation fears the light. I reply simply, truth is public record. See you Wednesday. We print both emails, staple them side by side, threat and response. Receipt number 37. At 3:40 p.m., the doorbell rings again. It's Pastor Luis. He looks almost relieved. Thought you'd want this, he says, handing me the church notice board copy from Memorial Week, the same one that listed Robert's name and time of service. Bottom corner reads, prepared by A. Ellis, confirmed by Office of Records, May 1st, 2025. My initials, clear, unforgivable. I typed this myself, I tell him. Then you already know, he says. Your name's been holding proof this whole time. Anita places it on top of the pile. Community ledgers, she whispers. They thought isolation was your weakness. Turns out it's their arithmetic error. Outside, thunder grumbles, far off the same rhythm as paper flipping. I sit at the table, aligning pages by their edges. Each line feels like a hymn, written in ink instead of sound. Write the day's summary, 10:42 a.m. 3 witness statements logged. 1:12 p.m. Intimidation letter received, replied, printed, 3:40 p.m. bulletin. Copy reissued by Church Record Office. Community math complete. Sum equals truth plus time. Anita closes her pad. They'll feel this tomorrow, she says. Let them add it up, I reply. My balance sheet is closed. The bell from St. Mark's rings 4 times, each tone clear, exact, answered. Outside, the sky folds itself into gray, and I can almost hear Robert's voice in that distance. Calm and dry as ever. Ledgers balanced, Alice. Now let them show their work. The courthouse clock will strike in 12 hours tonight. Every sound carries weight. Paper, hinge, breath. I move through the house like it's a file room after closing time, each drawer humming with its own secret. Anita arrives just after dusk, rain dotting her coat like punctuation. She doesn't knock twice. Calendar alert set for 8:15 a.m., she says, handing me the printed notice. Probate Court B, October 14, 2025 to 9 a.m. I tack it to the fridge beside Robert's photo. He's mid-laugh in that picture, eyes half closed, as if he already knows the verdict. We clear the table one last time. The binder sits in the center, spine straight. Tabs, like sentinels. Each section carries its own heartbeat. Chain of custody, counterfeit chain, timeline, community witnesses, APS ref, hashtag 3105-EJ. Anita lays out color-coded post-its. Tomorrow. You'll flip to yellow when Amber speaks, blue for documents, pink for closing words. I smile, and red for composure. She grins. You won't need that. You're built for paper storms. The rain grows heavier, tapping against the kitchen window. It smells like ink on carbon. Copies cool and final. I check the safe one last time. The original will rests inside, folded between two clear sleeves. I touch the notary, seal raised sharp, real, verification number 4472 still legible under lamplight. I lock the safe, twist the key, and log the time. 8:02 p.m. Habit doesn't fade, it fortifies. Do you ever wish it didn't come to this? Anita asks softly. Wishings for people who didn't keep records. I say, I did. We sit in silence a while. The kettle hums, low and steady. I pour 2 cups of chamomile, no sugar, no distractions. On the counter lies a small envelope from the church, slipped under the door earlier. Inside is a folded note on bulletin paper. Truth does not tremble under oath. See you there. L. Pastor Luce's handwriting, deliberate and firm. It feels like a benediction disguised as encouragement. I tape it inside the binder's front cover. Our motif, the church. Bulletin has come full circle. Anita begins tabbing the final packet. Each divider gets a small handwritten caption. EXHA Original Will, June 8, 2020. XB Hospital Log, April 18, 2025. Witness Statements, C. Rivera, A. Ellis, H. Caldwell. XD Apps, Confirmation Number 3105 EJ, XHE Fake April Testament for Contrast, EXHF. Community Receipts Donation Copy, Locksmith Note. Every page tells a part of the story, but only one tells it truthfully. Anita exhales. That's the full receipt ladder. I nod. Top rung at 9A.M. She zips the binder into its leather case and hands me a smaller notebook. Reflection log, she says. You'll want it when the noise ends. I flip to the first blank page and write a single sentence. 8:47 p.m. Calm before court. Proof lined like prayers. Outside, lightning flickers once across the clouds, illuminating the yard. Amber's SUV drives past slowly, headlights pausing at my driveway. Anita sees it too. She's scouting, she says. Let her, I reply. Tomorrow, we stop whispering. I close the blinds, turn off the porch light. In the dim kitchen, the clock ticks toward 9. Anita gathers her tote. I'll meet you on the courthouse steps at 8:30. Bring your dignity, not your fear. That's the only luggage I own now, I say. After she leaves, I walk the hallway once more. Every framed photo now feels catalogued. Robert fishing, Adam at graduation, Amber holding a glass of champagne like a trophy, all of them labeled silently in my head. Before the forgery, I set my clothes for tomorrow. Navy blouse, gray skirt, small pearl pin, same outfit I wore when I was promoted to senior records clerk in 1997. Paper has always recognized me. The rain slows. I open the window just enough to let the smell of wet earth in the night feels like an old ledger closing. No drama, just balance achieved. I sit at the table again, open my reflection log, and write 3 more lines. 9:15 p.m. Safe sealed, packet zipped, heart steady. 9:16 p.m. Headlights passed twice, no knock. 9:17 p.m. Tomorrow, room B. Then I whispered aloud, once, to hear the weight of the words, room B. That's where my husband's name will finally be spoken without fraud attached to it. That's where paper will outlast charm. I slide the binder into my briefcase, set the alarm for 6 a.m., and turn out the lights. The house exhales with my quiet, resolved, ready. And as I lie in bed, the storm outside turns to drizzle. Each drop sounds like a stamp, sealing an envelope, each one saying the same thing. It's all in order now. 9 a.m. Sharp, room B, probate court. Rows of wooden benches, one clock that ticks louder than grief. I sit on the respondent's side, binder in lap, posture straight, composure zipped tight. Anita is beside me, calm as statue. Across the aisle, Amber whispers to Logan Pierce. He wears confidence like a borrowed suit, one thread loose at the cuff. The clerk calls, Case 2254117B, in re-estate of Robert Ellis. Judge Moreno enters, crisp tone, eyes that read faster than people speak. All parties present. Yes, Your Honor. Logan says. He introduces himself and my daughter-in-law as petitioner and counsel of record. Then he glances at me. Respondent is Mrs. Alice Ellis, the decedent's spouse. His voice dips slightly on spouse, as if the title were an inconvenience. The judge nods. Proceed, Logan begins. Your Honor, we submit an updated testament dated April 18, 2025, executed during the decedent's hospitalization. It supersedes the 2020 document. We request confirmation. He slides a thin folder forward, paper to white, ink to new. The judge adjusts his glasses. You have the notarization log. Logan clears his throat. It's a digital, printed copy, not at this moment. Anita leans toward me. Strike one, she whispers. Judge Moreno looks my way. Mrs. Ellis. I stand, my hand doesn't tremble. I have the original 2020 will, notarized, desk number 12. Ref Compatribum Patratus 72, witnessed by Adam Ellis and Pastor Luis Ramos. I also have statements confirming the decedent was sedated on April 18, 2025. I opened the binder yellow tab, then blue, exactly as Anita planned. Exhibit A through F, I say. Original, notary letter, hospital affidavit, APS notice, community receipts. I pass the packet to the bailiff. The rustle of those pages sounds louder than any objection. Logan shifts in his chair. We contest authenticity. Mrs. Ellis has motive. Judge Moreno raises a hand. Counsel will test documents, not motives. He flips to the notary verification. Joseph Mendez, desk number 12, confirmed signature. June 8, 2020. He nods once. Chain of custody intact. Amber leans forward. That doesn't mean Dad didn't change his mind. Her voice wavers on Dad, less confident now. The judge glances at her. Ms. Ellis Pierce, only sworn testimony counts. Were you present April 18? She hesitates. We visited, but he was tired. Did he sign anything? She opens her mouth, then closes it. The room hears the silence before the answer. Anita writes something in her notebook. One word, truth. Judge Moreno looks to me again. Do you have corroboration? Yes, Your Honor. I hand over the nurse's notarized statement. He reads aloud. April 18, 2025, 7:40 p.m. Patient Robert Ellis sedated. No legal papers presented. He pauses. Notarized October 11, 2025. Verified license number. Accepted. Logan clears his throat again. Even so, Your Honor, the petitioner acts only out of concern for proper distribution. Anita murmurs. There's the script. I lift my head. Proper distribution begins with proper documents. The judge almost smiles. Indeed. He turns to the clerk. Is there any filing of a bar-numbered representation for Mr. Pierce? The clerk shakes her head. Not in system. Suite 104 lists as mail drop. Logan's jaw tightens. The judge closes the folder. Mr. Pierce, unauthorized representation is contempt. You may step aside. Amber's eyes widen. He's my husband's advisor. Not today, the judge says. To bailiffs escort him to the corridor. Quiet but final. For a moment, only the clock speaks. Soft tick, steady, impartial. Judge Moreno faces me. Double quotes Mrs. Ellis. You've maintained impeccable records. I'll enter the 2020 testament as controlling, subject to standard verification. The April document is void. Amber starts to speak, but the judge lifts a hand. This hearing isn't for debate. It's for receipts. He signs the minute order, the pen scratching out months of rumor. Clerk, file under verified will, original in possession, issue certified copy to respondent. The clerk stamps the page. OCT 14/20/25 to 9:46 a.m. Probate Court. B. The sound of that stamp feels like breath returning to its rightful owner. Judge Moreno gathers his papers. Court appreciates order. Mrs. Ellis, your record-keeping is exemplary. Others could learn. Thank you, Your Honor, I say, voice even. He nods once more. Matter concluded. Gavelled down. Amber sits frozen, pearl earrings trembling under the fluorescent lights. Her eyes avoid mine. I close the binder gently. No triumph. Just closure. Anita exhales beside me. The room knew before the mic, she whispers. She's right, I saw it happen. The bailiff, the clerk, even the stenographer stopped blinking when the stamp hit. We stand. The air smells faintly of toner and consequence. I shake the judge's clerk's hand, thank her for precision. Outside, the hallway feels larger than before, a space newly aired. Pastor Luis waits near the elevator, bulletin in hand. I kept one from the memorial, he says. Thought you'd want it back now that truth's in print. He hands it to me, the same fold, the same cross embossed. I trace my note on the back. 3:12 p.m. Stranger said second will. Now it ends where it began. I say. We walk out under a sky as clear as paper waiting for ink. Anita smiles, exhausted but proud. You didn't just win, she says. You documented the win. I look down at the stamped order in my hand. Verified will, 20200. Controlling document. For the first time in months, the weight I carry is no longer suspicion, it's proof. And as we reach the courthouse steps, I whisper the line I wrote weeks ago, now true in every syllable. If they bring feelings, I'll bring dates. The courthouse clock strikes 10. Each chime lands clean, and the last echo fades into the morning like a file drawer closing final. Factual, at peace. The courthouse order arrives by courier. 2 days later, a single envelope, with weight far beyond its size, stamped in blue ink, filed October 14, 2025. Probate court. Be inside. Judge Marino's ruling, signed and sealed. 2020 testament. Controlling document. April submission declared null. I read it once, standing, once seated, once aloud. Each time the words sound steadier, not victory, correction. Anita's already there, coffee in hand, notebook open. She circles the filing number. Look at that line. Clerk instructed to update asset title under respondent authority. That's the house, the accounts, the lot. I nod slowly. Boundaries reinstated in writing. At 9:46 a.m., I log the event. Certified order received. Control of estate restored. Counterpetition withdrawn. I underline the word restored twice. Outside, the air smells like wet pavement and new pages. Even grief feels catalogued now. Filed under resolve. By noon, my phone vibrates. Message from an unknown number. Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't see what she was doing. It's Adam. Another buzz follows. We closed the joint account. Amber moved out. I'll bring your key back. That line, I'll bring your key back, lands deeper than any apology could. At 1:18 p.m., the doorbell rings. I open it to find Adam, eyes rimmed red, holding the brass house key on a ring still engraved Dad's shop. He places it in my palm, voice quiet. I thought loyalty meant silence, he says. Now, I know it means record keeping. Then you learned the family trade. I reply. I log it the moment he leaves. 1:22 p.m. Key handback witnessed. New locks retained. Receipts don't require sentiment, just truth. Ember doesn't call. But the next day, a courier brings a letter in her handwriting. I was wrong to push. I thought protecting assets meant protecting image. The April papers are destroyed. I'm filing no appeal. I hope time dulls the sting. It's dated, signed, witnessed by her own attorney. I slip it into the binder under the tab. Aftermath, artifact number 40, apology in writing. Anita reads it and sighs, restitution. Emotionally, if not financially. I nod, and paper thin as it may be, it counts. We sit in quiet for a while. The house feels clean, doors oiled, hinges silent. Even the safe hums faintly, like metal remembering relief. At 3:10 p.m., Pastor Luis stops by. He brings a new church bulletin. Front headline, Service of Thanks, October 19, 2025. Below it, a quote, "Let all things be done decently and in order." He smiles. Thought it belonged here. I tape it on the refrigerator, beneath the original one from the memorial. Bookends of a story, grief to grace, both signed by time. Later, Anita opens her tote and hands me one more paper. A bank letter, dated October 16, 2025, header, restitution of withheld funds. The manager's note at the bottom reads, reinstated account balance per probate confirmation. Apology enclosed. I trace the embossed seal. First State Bank, branch 107. The letter smells faintly of toner and citrus cleaner. The scent of closure. I file it beneath the finance tab. Slip the apology note behind it like a bookmark. Another receipt, another rung on the ladder, complete. Evening, the sky shifts to soft gray, not the storm gray of accusation, but the quiet gray of balance. I pour tea. The chipped blue mug now repaired with gold. Steam rises through lamplight, curling like an exhale from months of holding breath. Anita writes the final entry. For the day, 4:52 p.m. will validate it. Funds restored, key returned, apology letter filed, room balanced. She smiles at me. Justice isn't loud, is it? No, I say, it's time-stamped. Before she leaves, she places a small sticky note on my fridge. You kept every boundary and built new ones. After she's gone, I walk through the house one more time, the hallway lights soft, the walls no longer echoing with defense. The blue folder rests in the safe, but its story now lives in the open. I sit by the window, watching leaves gather at the curb. Robert would have swept them by now. I whisper, anyway, they tried to sign over what you built, but they couldn't sign over truth. I open my reflection log and write, October 16th, 2025, boundaries formalized, restitution logged, dignity intact, then one more line. For myself, every line, a ledger. Every ledger, a life preserved. Outside, St. Mark's bells ring once, gentle, unhurried. Not for mourning this time, but for order returned. And in that rhythm, I realize justice isn't a verdict. It's a receipt that finally stops trembling in your hand. Morning sunlight arrives without ceremony, no papers to deliver, no stamps to chase, only calm. The house breathes differently now, quieter, but alive. I make tea in the chipped blue mug. Gold seems glinting where fracture met repair. Even imperfection can be notarized into beauty. The refrigerator holds both bulletins, Memorial and Thanksgiving, side by side. 2 pages, 2 dates, 1 arc. Below them, a yellow note in Anita's handwriting. You kept every boundary and built new ones. Anita stops by after church. She looks lighter, almost amused. The probate clerk called. She says, they framed your case summary for training exhibit integrity. I laugh softly. That's what 22 years of filing earns you. Footnote fame. She sets her tote down. So, what's next? I think I'll audit my garden, I say. Weeds, love, neglect. You're the only person I know who audits plants. Everything leaves evidence, I say. Even petals. The air smells faintly of rosemary and clean paper. A new envelope rests on the table. From the community center. Volunteer invitation, Elder Advocacy Workshop, November 3. Someone wrote in pen, we could use your record-keeping magic. I smile. Justice travels, sometimes in files, sometimes in people. Adam visits in the afternoon. He stands at the gate, hands in pockets. Nice locks, he says. Same keys, I reply. Different trust. He nods, eyes downcast. Amber moved to her sister's for a while. She's embarrassed. She should be grateful it ended in paperwork, not headlines, I say. He nods again. Do you want help trimming the hedge? Always. For a while, silence replaces apology. We prune and pile branches, the air crisp with sawdust and something gentler. Sometimes reconciliation sounds like labor. By evening, Anita joins us for dinner. 3 plates, simple food. She lifts her glass. 2 receipts. She says, to restraint, I add. Adam smiles awkwardly. To Mom's paperwork empire. We laugh, not loudly, just enough to fill the room that used to echo. After they leave, I open my reflection log. The last blank page waits like a verdict that doesn't need words. I write slowly, line by line. October 20th, 2025, case closed. Accounts restored. Family, RECALIBRATED. Justice, achieved in form, not fantasy. Forgiveness optional, dignity required. I close the notebook, seal it with a small brass clip, and slide it beside the binder in the safe. Both rest their evidence and empathy, side by side. Outside, St. Mark's bell rings once, the evening chime for ordinary peace. I step onto the porch, cup warming my palms, light wind lifting the edge of the old church bulletin pinned to the notice board. Someone's added a new line beneath the verse. Signed, witnessed, remembered. The street is quiet, leaves brushing against the curb like turning pages. I breathe in the cool air, the kind that doesn't sting anymore. From here, I can see the courthouse roof in the distance. The same clock that once dictated my fear, now simply keeping time. And for the first time in months, I let the silence be unrecorded. Not every truth needs a ledger. Not every wound needs a stamp. Still, Before I go inside, I whisper, not for the record, but for myself, they tried to bury me in paper, Robert, but you taught me how to read the fine print. I close the door, the lock clicks once, steady, sure, final, the house, the file, the heart, all aligned. Justice, mostly, and that's enough.